Do I have permission to speak to subconscious?
Yes, she gives you permission.
Do I have permission to ask questions?
You have permission.
I know the subconscious could have brought forth many different lifetimes and things for us to see today. You chose to bring forward a time where she was a young woman with a little boy and her mom. Why did you pick that to show her today?
Because she's afraid of losing the people that she loves. She's afraid of having a baby because she's afraid it's going to be taken away. She's always had that feeling in this lifetime that all relationships will kind of be taken away from her, so she can't really fully relax. But this lifetime, she gets to fully relax. She just needs to kind of see that these are patterns from old lifetimes, not from this lifetime necessarily, unless she creates it.
Is there something you can do to assure her that this is not that lifetime and it won't happen again?
I think that this is the assurance. But she needs to know that this is something that she chooses. So she has to, in order for people to stay in her life, she has to choose to fully commit.
In what way should she commit fully?
By moving forward towards the fears that present themselves and just fully facing them and stepping into the control that she has. It reminds her of this a lot. She has people that remind her of it as the priestess gifts. So she has a deep empathy that allows the healing to flow through. And she really has the ability to do anything she wants. And she's working on cultivating it. And that's just all about creating boundaries around whatever you do. So the point is to not limit it off the bat. The point is to be open to all possibilities in the forefront, and then as the possibilities come into your reality, just to set the boundaries that you need around them as they come forward. It's not something to worry about. She just needs to stop hiding. It's just she's had a great many lifetimes of not being safe. She's had a childhood of not feeling safe. And so there's this battle that she kind of plays out in her head of, oh, I want to be this full expression, but I also don't want to be seen. It doesn't really work that way. So she needs to kind of release that, stop doubting herself and start stepping in. She has this great mantra that she says to herself, which is just, I am magical and powerful. It's completely true. It's why she loves it so much. It resonates so deeply with her. And she's working on stepping out. But she's afraid of certain people in her life finding out. She's afraid of judgment from her father, and she's afraid of judgment from her brother, her older brother. She doesn't want to lose their acceptance by being too immersed in the magical and the spiritual. And she's working on admitting allowing her love to flow so freely that when she has these discussions with people, the purity of her intention flows through, and acceptance isn't really a problem when you can kind of feel that purity of love and loving intention. But she just needs to know that her dad really does accept her fully, but he has a hard time verbalizing it because he feels a lot of guilt himself about her childhood and about the choices that he made. So his tongue is kind of stopped by guilt, but it doesn't really change the love that he feels for her. She needs to drink a lot more water and a lot less coffee. I think she is at the point where her body needs to catch up. So there's a full connection between the physical body and the spiritual body. The physical body is not in a place where it can hold the energy. There's only so much she can allow. Spiritually, I think besides drinking a lot more water, and also blessing her water before she drinks, so she needs to take the time to do that. She knows that it makes a difference. I think the main thing is not what she eats, but how she eats it. I think she needs to slow down. She needs to be grateful for what she's eating. I think that she needs to kind of listen to her intuition a little bit around that and stop being judgmental about certain types of foods, but rather eat slowly and with intention, with gratitude for the bites that she's taking. And if she slows down and has that intention between meals, then she's going to be guided on what to eat, what not to eat. If she has a hard time feeling grateful for what she's eating, she knows that that's not the right thing for her to be eating. She likes to make it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. She gets all some of what she eats from what she eats.
Mm-hmm.
And when she is feeling particularly drained or stressed, she goes for vitamin D and C, and that's fine. That's more of a giving herself permission to feel better than anything else. She needs to explore spiritual dance. She needs to be combining the physical and the energetic and the spiritual. She feels very drawn to dance, but she's very judgmental of herself when it comes to ground movement, as she calls it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of sacred healing to be done in dance and movement, and in the music that goes along with that. Money flows very easily to her. She doesn't focus on it. In this lifetime, she's meant to bypass the obsession with money. That's why it's so hard for her to earn it intentionally. There's so much focus on money as the end goal, which is just, honestly, just really silly. So many valuable things that have absolutely nothing to do with money whatsoever. So when she focuses on these things, money flows very easily. She's never been without. She's had the mental addiction to that financial struggle, which goes along with the mental addiction to victim mentality, which she's really been working through, and she's really been healing that very well on her own. And so she just has to continue to trust that the more she focuses on her value outside of money, and the more money will easily flow to her. Yeah, so we're always helping her with that.
And if there are any blocks or obstacles in her way from achieving financial freedom, can you also help her with that?
Yes, and mostly in her head, and a little bit in her sacral chakra, kind of held there in her belly and held there in her head. It's actually both places where, but that's another reason why we showed her that lifetime, because those are the two places where she was shot, in the belly and in the head. And why? Because she didn't have the money. It's very connected. She's had a lot of lifetimes like this. But in the end, it's just not that important. Money is just energy. She's very full of energy. She works with energy very easily. She flows it very easily. But yes, we'll heal that for her. She needs to learn how to see each person fresh every time she sees them. As if there is no past. All the complications come from placing too much significance on the past relationship dynamics. If you viewed each being as if you've never interacted with them before, the opportunity for the interactions to be full and new is greatly increased. We put our relationships in smaller and smaller and smaller boxes as we have more and more interactions with people. We place more and more limits on people, more expectations on how they feel and what the interaction will be. Every time she interacts with family, she should remind herself that this is a new, fresh interaction with a beautiful part of herself. And she can also practice sending love to the interactions before they occur, which is just setting your intention to do the same thing. She doesn't need to force the healing to happen in any particular time or place. It will happen when it's meant to happen. And she also needs to focus only on her interactions with her family, not healing other people's interaction with family members. This is just about her and her journey. And by focusing on that, she paves the way for healing to happen in other people's journeys, but she's only responsible for herself. Her house is going to be beautiful. She's going to absolutely love it. She needs to be a little bit more involved in the research aspect of her house, and she needs to have more confidence in her reasoning skills, and that her opinions are valuable. When it comes to the house, blocks really only exist when she believes that they exist. And right now we would rather have her focus on blocks not existing.
Do we have permission to ask who is speaking now?
This is higher self.
What should she call you?
Her name is Zariel. She likes to try to put a D in her name, but there's no D. It's a joke that we have. Zarielle. Dreams are just to show her the general themes of what is being healed and where her energy is going. She doesn't need to try to go too deep into interpreting them. As she continues to develop, it will continue to deepen and develop. She wants it all to happen right now.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything she can do to improve her meditation?
She needs to trust that the information she's getting is valid and valuable. Stop doubting and questioning quite so much. She meditates very easily. She connects very easily. And she's connecting easier and easier all the time. She's kind of at the point now where she just says, I am here. And we say, we are here also. Or we start a conversation. It's very simple. There's not too much detail. She is working on toning, which is helpful for healing her body. And when she feels any kind of desire to sing a specific tone, she's just been allowing it to come out of her mouth. All that vibration is great for releasing energies that build up over the day, or just to get things to vibrate on the right frequency. And she needs to use it more when she's doing healing work with other people. She needs to stop worrying that it's going to take them out of kind of that calm, relaxed space, because it's actually going to bring them to a deeper space. She has a few other guides that come in and out in different times. She also has, she thinks she just has one, she actually has 2 angels that are very busy, that are with her usually. They're very grateful that she doesn't do as many life-risking activities anymore, so they don't have to jump in and physically save her as much as they used to. But she's still always protected in that way. We're with her this lifetime. She's had other guides in other lifetimes. She's been a guide in other lifetimes.
Can you tell her about that? How was she a guide in another lifetime, and how did she get to be a human?
It's kind of the point of being human, is to be a better guide. So the point of the lifetimes is well, in this case, it's not everyone's case, but a lot of cases case. And I are the same. And we are an angel. And to be a really good angel, to be a really good guardian angel, to be a really good guide, you have to have that empathy. And the way you develop the empathy is to go through the human experience. There's no point of reference for being a guide if you don't have the experience. And Alice always been hard on herself in that she pushes herself to her greatest capacity. She always takes the hardest classes, and she always goes the most direct route, which means that she's had a lot of very difficult lifetimes, because she's experienced all the different forms of suffering imaginable, which gives her the greatest amount of empathy, which is important. We like to explain it to her as every time she goes through a difficult experience, whether it's in this lifetime or other lifetimes, it opens up and carves out more space for love. And that's why in this lifetime she's so focused on filling up with love, which is good. That's exactly why she's here. So she needs to be grateful for the pain that she's experienced. And as she experiences new forms of contrast and suffering, if she can have that higher perspective of being grateful that that experience is carving out more room for love, then she'll be able to stay very calm and grounded through those experiences, and she'll be able to be that calm energy for other people. This also helps her realize that she doesn't have to save other people from suffering, because that's their own carving out experience. She needs to stop distracting herself with all these other jobs, start focusing on making that her primary action. The main reason why she doesn't do that is because she's worried about not bringing in enough money. The whole point is that the money will flow when she stops focusing on it quite so much. So if she can start owning her gifts instead of apologizing for her gifts or quietly mumbling about her gifts, then she'll have way more people who are interested in receiving healing if she's more confident about the amount of healing that she can actually deliver. She needs to pursue the dance.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to continue going to as many sharing opportunities as she can find, which she's already doing. But most of all, she needs to practice speaking about what she does. Because if she hides, then no one will know that she's there. The thing that will help her with that kind of development the most is to go back to those sacred feminine roots, that priestess root. So she's kind of brushed off the power of ritual and of creating ritual around the things that she desires to manifest, because she feels like she should just be able to do it by thinking about it. But there's power in the roots that she has in some of these traditions. And so for her, it's a matter of not just asking in her mind, but paying respect to the asking, and paying respect to the powers that are helping her out, and kind of acknowledging that sacred bond that she has with them. So she has this kind of idea that she should be beyond that. But it's not a matter of being beyond that. It's a matter of digging back into her roots. She writes down her dreams, but she hasn't taken the time to ask about what they mean, really. So if she sets aside the time to go through and connect about a specific dream, of course we will interpret it for her.